Good evening. There's a demographic crisis and a crisis in marriage throughout the developed world. People simply aren't marrying and settling down to have children. And this is the case both in the West and in Japan. In Japan, in the West, there are a number of videos of various people talking about how there are an increasing number of women who are not marrying and having children until their late 30s and possibly going on to their, fear is that it'll edge on to the 40s. And in Japan, the government got so worried about the lack of people marrying that the state decided to step in as a matchmaker and try and arrange marriages between young Japanese, and so there would be more Japanese, little Japanese along the way. I mean, this crisis has been going on in Japan since the 90s. I mean, there was a headline in one of the respected Japanese newspapers a little while ago, which said that if the decline in the Japanese birth rate continued, then in 1,000 years' time there would be no Japanese. Which is kind of looking a little far ahead, I think you'll say. But there are similar fears here in the West. People are also talking about the way men also are walking away from marriage, and there's a lot of debate about that, including people from, I think, the manosphere going on about, well, it's all the fault of feminism and toxic entitled women. Now, there have been jokes about marriage and how limiting it is. It's like forever and a day. I mean, there was a song sung by the great British comic actor Kenneth Williams, who used to say, "Oh, this song is sung by a couple who love each other, but alas, they cannot be married, they cannot be happy, because they are husband and wife." And of course, the joke there. But on the contrary, and there is a 16th century song called "Bring Me My Yellow Hose Again," which is about a man lamenting the fact that he is no longer bachelor. He's married, and so whenever he tries to sweet talk a lady, someone opens up their window and shouts, "Thy wife shall hear of this." So, we've had those jokes for centuries. But marriage has been declining since the 60s and 70s with the introduction of increasingly easy divorce, and there are very, very good reasons why people are divorcing, such as domestic violence. But there have also been radical ideologies that wish to abolish marriage and the family. Marx explicitly says he wants to destroy them in the Communist Manifesto. Long before that, there were the French revolutionaries, there were also the anarchists and other radical groups. A couple of days ago, there were pieces on the web about a new course by the University of Pennsylvania, which apparently talks about the abolition of the family and schemes to abolish it down the ages. This has obviously not gone down well with the right. But if you look through some of the broadside ballads from the Peace collection, you find one written in the 16th century, 17th century, "'Tis not otherwise," or "The Praise of Married Life," to the tune of "I'll Never Love Thee More." And it's quite a lengthy one. There it is. And it's in two parts. I shall only read the first part because it's so long. And it goes, a young man lately did complain, because that he was wed, and counselled others to abstain from hymeneal bed. Hymen was a Roman god of marriage, or goddess. Had years but given him manlike thoughts, he'd not been so unwise, for wives increase man's happiness, then 'tis not otherwise. What joy is there upon the earth, but marriage makes it more? It is to man a second birth that openeth the door to happiness and such delight, but that none but they comprise. The pleasures have both day and night, then 'tis not otherwise. When I was single I did stray in heart, in words and life, but I have found a better way, I thank my loving wife. I now live free from all suspect and many wicked lies. The good I wish hath took effect, then 'tis not otherwise. Much company I used to keep before I had a wife. The memory doth make me weep, for 'twas a wicked life. Such comfort now at home I find, for marriage to arise. I wish all men were in my mind, then 'tis not otherwise. Unthrifty games I now have left, as tables, cards, and dice, that oft have me of wealth bereft. I curse no ace nor sice. I do not now the cards did burn, that made my anger rise. A wife hath caused me to turn, then 'tis not otherwise. So civil I am grown of late, since that I made my choice. I hate each swearing, swaggering mate, which makes me to rejoice. The company I now do keep are honest men and wise, that not with drink, but sense do sleep. Then 'tis not otherwise. No constable, no watch for your eye, that crieth, who goes there? I do not reel, but soberly can pass them void of care. I use no caudles in the morn, I drink not out mine eyes. My wife hath made me these to scorn, then 'tis not otherwise. This diet makes me to forget the headache that some have, which makes them for all things unfit. To drink I am no slave. These men their virtue hath outworn, that drink doth so disguise. My wife hath made me this to scorn, then 'tis not otherwise. And then, try the second part. Against I from my labour come, my wife provides me meat. When I was single, none at home found I or what to eat. At sight of me she lays the cloth, and then for meat she hies, which makes me to forget all sloth, then 'tis not otherwise. If I seem discontent with aught, she kindly prays me tell, if that it may be begged or bought, or where it is to sell. That would me please and merry make, the tears stand in her eyes, till I my discontent forsake, then 'tis not otherwise. It is a comfort for to see good women meek and mild, that to her come in charity, when that she is with child. They comfort her if she do sound, when for strong water highs, and so their husband's health dig round, then 'tis not otherwise. When that she doth in childbed lie, the neighbours in their love will with her sit, and pleasantly to mirth they do her move. By christening of my little lad I did in credit rise, or this by my good wife I had, then 'tis not otherwise. For gossiping they send in meat, would well serve 40 men, as good as any man can eat for mutton, pig or hen. They eat not half, but leave it me, their profit doth arise. This cometh by a wife, you see, then 'tis not otherwise. One gives a piece or one a spoon unto my pretty child, and wished that ere tomorrow noon their cradles to be filled. With such a pretty child as this, joy there to me doth rise. Had I no wife, or this I miss, then 'tis not otherwise. The babe doth grow and quickly speak, this doth increase my joy. To hear it tattle, laugh and squeak, I smile and hug the boy. I with it play with great delight, and hush it when it cries, and ever wish it in my sight, then 'tis not otherwise. O bachelors, I wish you wed, if merry you would live. A single man is oft misled, and seldom doth he thrive. I lived before, but better now, my joy and wealth arise. To live well I have shown you how, then 'tis not otherwise. So, in praise of the 16th or 17th century conception of the family, very traditional, as you can see, with the women feeding them, cooking and feeding the man and having children. But again, I'm not sure that women would accept such a subservient role now. In fact, many couples now take turns cooking. Wife does it one day, husband does it the other, right? But the central message of this: get yourself a good wife, young man. You'll be healthy, wealthy, and wise, and she'll make you give up everything that's a complete and utter waste of time, like gambling, drinking, swearing, and being such a thorough rogue that the equivalent of the police will have their eye on you. Which I think is a positive message for people concerned about the decline of the family. Thank you for watching.